Welcome to another episode of Tzuzamen. Hi, Tzipi.
Hi, Tzili.
Hi, Dorit.
דורית. תכף נגיע לזה, אבל זה תזוזמן. Oh, English, I forgot. This is tzuzamen together, and we do it because we need inspiration in life. So we feel, you know, every week we find somebody else that we can fly with. Are you muted? Are you muted?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So this is Dorit Inbar.
Hello, everybody.
The end of the NFCT in Israel.
Right.
Dorit, what does NFCT stand for?
The NFCT is the acronym for the New Fund for Cinema and Television in Israel. This is a film fund. It's an NGO, non-partisan organization, nothing to do with the New Fund for Israel, which is a great organization, but nothing to do with us. We are a professional organization which supports filmmaking and filmmakers.
Hold on for just a second. There's something that's showing through your glasses. Shining.
Reflection.
Reflection.
You have a reflection.
That's it. Oops.
Yeah. No,
okay.
No. It's a beautiful lamp of your boyfriend.
That's it. That's it.
Okay. This lamp is doing a reflection. Don't use it. Okay. You have nice eyes.
I don't use it.
Yeah, but you're doing other things also, right? You're on the board of few film organizations, right?
Yes. Along the years, I served in several boards because formerly I was a lawyer, commercial lawyer. So I also served as a member of the board of the electricity company of Israel. Yeah, among other things.
That's interesting.
Yes, and also the Israeli Opera and the Beit Berl College in Israel,
but let's go back to the NFCT because we want to talk about that, and we want to know exactly what you're doing because you carry so many interesting activities and combinations and collaborations and projects and films. So
you're a small studio.
So let's talk a little bit about that. What is your philosophy as an organization?
So in spite of our funny name, the New Fund, we are one of the two oldest film funds in Israel. The NFCT is active for approximately 30 years now.
Wow.
And in our portfolio, there are more than 1,000 films that the fund had supported along the years. We specialize mainly in documentary filmmaking, but actually we are active in all genres. And our activity or our perception about this field is twofold. First, of course, we strive to support the best filmmaking, and we succeed. We have great films in our portfolio, films that were nominated and won awards in the most prestigious stages, from the American Oscars to the
all over
festivals, yes, and the Emmy and the Golden Globe and what have you. And you can mention films like Waltz's Bashir and Five Broken Cameras and Mr. Gaga and so many others. On the other hand, because we believe that the films are the best, maybe the only mean to make an impact today and to educate today. And when I say educate, I mean it in the American meaning of the term, meaning that widely, this is first it's the maybe the best way to spread an information. I think many more people, and not only young, watch video materials rather than those who go to study in universities or pray in synagogues or churches or mosques, wherever. But it's not only that. I think that film, when it's a good film, has the ability to make an emotional impact. And when you see a film, which is good, and I think you are not always change your mind, but so many times become more tolerant.
The impact is very direct and very immediate.
Yes. And also you're not arguing, you know, we could argue about anything. I don't know. How about Trump as an, you know, a subject for such an argument? So and if we agree, we agree. But if we don't, then we'll end our arguments and discussion when, you know, each one goes to his or her way, believing that, you know, saying to himself, I never thought I'm so right until I met this other guy. But when you're alone in front of the screen, then you're not such a fighter. You know, you're a better listener in the dark, and this is a very good way to meet other challenges, other groups of populations, other beliefs, and this is only one thing. You know, when you create a film, the film itself is a mean, of course, but also the filmmaker. Moreover, when it comes to documentary filmmakers, and we see that most of the filmmakers are really active. They are really social activists, and it doesn't matter in which film. It could be municipal, it could be in art organizations, it could be, we even have now an MK, a member of the Knesset, Ibtisam Arana, who is a filmmaker and documentarist, whom we supported at least 3 of her films previously. And she's very active now. She does great things in different subjects. So when you support a filmmaker, you also support the society itself. So it's not only the film, it's also the filmmakers. And you really make them agents of change. And we see that especially when we come to marginal groups, and the fund is very active with marginal groups. I'll give you some examples. Maybe the first would be a project that we're having with ultra-Orthodox women in Jerusalem. And you know, with in that sector, it's only the women because they have to provide for the families. The men study.
Yeah.
So what we propose to them is to teach them a profession. So they could be filmmakers for, I don't know, bar mitzvah films, for whatever. And alongside to teach them how to make films about their society, about their lives, about their background, about their culture. And it's not only that you get a keyhole to a very close society that's about issues, phenomena you never saw, you never heard of before, but also these women, when they go back to their children, to their friends, after we handed them a hand from the other side, from places they never met before, they never heard before, never allowed themselves to meet before. They say what they say based on a knowledge now. And you know, a few years ago, I had such a filmmaker who said to me at the end of a course of a whole year, there's a study, it's almost a year, full year of study for each round. And she said to me, you know, Dorit, I literally thought you have horns.
Wow. And, yeah, but this is extreme, Dorit.
Sometimes it's not. They don't mean
sometimes not, and sometimes not. Yeah, and you know, when you see them, when you see the finished films shown, we've managed to show the films of the graduates of each round at the Jerusalem Jewish Film Festival in December, in Hanukkah, every year. And it's quite often that the filmmaker stands up and says, my rabbi allowed only women to watch the film, so I ask all men to get out. So you say extreme, I'm not sure you are right.
No, I mean, this I understand because I know and I've seen it many times, men and women, but the horn, you know, it's like, it's a little bit...
No, yeah, this was half a joke.
No, she didn't mean horn, it was like a metaphor to...
I understand. But you know, I follow all your projects, and I think that and you have beautiful projects. So many people got a chance to raise their voices in a way that I don't think they would be able to do it otherwise.
It's true, and I want to give you another example. it's really the other side of the scale, at least to some extent. You know, it's very hard to find the Arab Israelis filmmakers. Arab Israeli filmmakers will tend not to approach because they are under a huge pressure not to be connected with organizations they seem to which seem to be public or organized or governmental in a way, and they also don't know how to do it, and many times they don't send, you know, they cannot match Israeli Jewish filmmakers who studied in universities.
And also writing a proposal, it's not simple.
No, it's not. We are the only fund which allows filing a proposal in Arabic. And still, it's very hard. And what we did, first we invest a lot of effort in finding them. It's very hard to even trace them, you know, and then to nurture them. And what we did during the past 2 years is actually creating a branch in Taipei.
Oh.
And
Taipei is quite extreme.
Called the triangle area. It's an Arabic area in the center of Israel, and we invest a lot of work and a lot of budgets in supporting them. We have some dozens.
Oh,
wow! It's like a treasure. It's like a treasure to find them. But at the same time, we work with other groups as well. We, for example, support filmmakers from Ethiopian region. One of my dreams now is we had a few years ago we had such a round with filmmakers coming from USSR, previous USSR, Russian origin, and now I'm looking for funds trying to set such a group of French origin filmmakers. So because there are many, I mean, there is a big population of French immigrants coming to Israel. So this is one type of activities we're doing. We're defining the group of filmmakers, and it could be defined by in other ways as well. For example, we are having a constant work with filmmakers with physical disabilities, various severe disabilities. For example, teaching them script writing, which is something that you can do from home, online. And this is a way to bring them into the industry. Or we are having now a huge project, it's the second year now, for emerging filmmakers with post-trauma from the army, which is unfortunately relevant.
There are big numbers in Israel.
So this is one way to define groups of filmmakers and invest in their work and accompany them and nurture them and push them towards a goal, which is our goal, to make the best films and to make them the better filmmakers, and also to compete, you know, when the competition is so hard, you know, we have two big rounds a year, and in each round we get something between 100 and 150 proposals every round, out of which we support approximately 3 to 5.
Wow. Yeah, it is. It's like to be accepted to Harvard or Yale.
Yes. You know, my predecessor, when he handed me this position, he said to me, from every 100 filmmakers, you will support 3, and this is how you will get yourself 97 haters and 3 bitter filmmakers who will complain you didn't give them enough money. And so that's how it works. So it's really frustrating, and the competition is very, very tough. And this is why emerging filmmakers, or those who came from a background and education which is not sufficient for such a competition, will fail otherwise. And of course, in these projects, we have support of organizations who are not necessarily interested in filmmaking, but they understand the power of strengthening these leaders of each such.
They understand the importance of what you do and the vast options that you lay out to everybody. And listen, we see the level of the movies. It's a different story. It's a different story. It got so much better over the years. I mean, when you would say Israeli film, nobody would expect what they get now. And now the Israeli films are very good and they can level very well all over.
Tell me something. Do you see a change in the content, in the subject matter? There is any change?
You know, there is a zeitgeist, you know, sometimes something disappears, a topic disappears altogether, and then comes a wave and you can see various filmmakers deal with the same thing. Now, for example, in the past few years, we had many films, documentaries who dealt with crime and investigational type of projects, and we hardly saw films that deal with the occupation, for example, and in general with relationship between Arabs and Jews in Israel. And it changes now again, but it really comes in waves. And one topic that I see all the time is the Holocaust is a constant issue. And amazingly, each time you get better and better proposals, and the films are really so amazing and so good. It's really hard to believe. Not only the stories, the amazing stories that are still, you know, keep being revealed all the time, but also points of view and the way things are shown and the profound way to show them it's really very, very impressive. But sometimes when a budget comes, it will awaken topics that are not dealt with usually. I mean, I'm sure that if I will now call for proposals regarding films that deal with I don't know, green energy and cleaning the oceans, I'll get immediately films that I never heard of and were not to be found before. So just give you, tell you one story about that. Several years ago, we were approached by a fund called the Weil Bloch. Weil Bloch is a family foundation, Swiss family foundation. And they never dealt with filmmaking, although one of the members of this family is a filmmaker himself, a distributor and a producer in France. And so they said, we're not interested in supporting films, but we're very much interested in a shared society in Israel. And 2 years ago, we announced such a call for proposal for films on that subject, a bit widened. It was shared society, racism, and immigration. And at the time, there were no films about it and no special budgets anywhere for shared society at all. And all of a sudden, we got tens of proposals, out of which we had, if I recall, there were almost 10 narrative films and 20 documentary films, which it was very hard to choose. Who will be the winner, or who will be the winners, because there were basically 2 prizes, and finally they added some more money for third film. And this year again they added more money, and we are going at May 20 will be announced the announcement for the 3 winning films of the year. And so you didn't, you know, no one thought they will awaken, the field in such a way and bring so many good films. So this is, sometimes it's only a matter of rain, when I'm a rainmaker and there is rain, then you'll get the topics.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you get films about just everything.
Right. So what are the platforms? Because except, I don't know, in Israeli Channel 8, who is really, and maybe Channel 11, who is really showing those documentaries in Israel? Because they are, of course, all over the place in film festivals. It's really amazing. Best, as you said, best film festivals.
The life of a film, the life of a film actually are very long. A good film will have what we call a very long tail. It starts with festivals. This would be the first window, what we call. Then they will go up to TV channels. And when it goes to documentaries, in Israel, there are at least 3 main platforms. There is Channel 8, the cable companies, and the Yes Doco in the satellite company. And Channel 1, which is the public broadcaster in Israel, they have a huge budget. Actually, today they are the biggest. And they invest a lot in filmmaking, in documentaries mainly. So these would be the 3 main platforms, but also Channel 2, Keshet, Reshet would also sometimes use films, for example.
In a way, you can, now that you talk, I understand that there is more platforms for documentary than for feature films on Israeli, television and cable.
TV, yes, TV-wise, of course, because there are not, it's a matter of regulation. And since I imposed the first regulation in Israel some years ago, previously when I served as the head of the Cable and Satellite TV Council in Israel, they were forced to invest in documentaries and also in TV dramas, but they are not enforced to invest in narrative full-length films. Therefore, they do not. Yeah. And there are relatively fewer sources for such production. But you always have money from abroad, of course, and TV channels abroad purchase a lot of documentaries from the obvious, the usual suspects, the BBC, etc., and up to Al Jazeera, who holds a permanent representative in Israel. So everybody's purchasing the documentaries.
So I know that you have a team of readers, people who help choose the
selection.
What you and them are looking for? How do you detect on paper, on the proposal level?
The system goes in 2 ways. We each round hire external peer review group members who would be people with a solid background in the industry, and they would make the first screening, and then when we come to the shorter lists, then when I say we, the fund, including me and including the secretary, is approximately seven or 8 employees. So 3 of us, we who are the artistic manager and the production manager and myself would participate, and then we will call those few who came up to the second stage for a presentation, and then we will decide.
Yeah, but what do you look for? How do you?
No,
because it's on a level of a proposal. I don't know if they give you a sizzling reel, they show you a video, but it's mainly, it's a written proposal, right?
We have, first they have to file in documentary, especially, they have to file also some materials which they, which are needed at least to show that they have an access, that they have a protagonist, they have something to show. So it is very important that they will show some materials they shot, or archive materials, whatever, something they should show. But of course, the main thing would be a written proposal. And what we instruct the peer review group members to look for is for those projects with an added value, which is more than the story itself. What we ask them to look for are projects that would interest more than the family of the filmmaker. And it could be a small story. It could be a very, when I say small,
yeah, in scope.
Yes, it could be, you know, a story about a mother and a son. It could be something, you know, very, very local, very specific, but still it has to have an added value. It should have some more layers, which would be interesting and which will make an impact on somebody,
right.
a bigger group. So this is exactly what we're looking at, a film that will make an impact.
Basically, when you look at the films that come out from them, they're all very well written, very well made. All the angles that we know, just in a very special way, and delivered excellently and leave an impact.
Thank you. And you know that sometimes you see a film and you can't tell yourself, you say, well, this would be a small story, or this will be something that will not be of any interest to but few, you know, very, very small group of people. And then it becomes such a huge film. And just a film that premiered a week ago and will be shown in Channel 1, the public broadcaster for the Independence Day broadcasting.
Yeah.
In 2 days. It's called Roots in the Air. And we thought, when we supported it, we said, well, not too many people would be interested in that. And it tells a story of, you know, in the airport, in the Air Force bases in Israel, there are neighborhoods of the pilots and
of the families of the pilots
and the children.
They live in the base.
That's right. And the story was about such childhood of those children who lived in such a calm, peaceful, safe place, but
yes,
with all these death machines around them,
right.
And it deals especially with the time of the Yom Kippur War and
the 73 war. Yeah.
And so the story became such an Israeli moving story that really defines what being an Israeli is, and it was so moving. I rarely saw such premieres where the standing ovations did not stop, and people were crying half the screening. You know,
we're going to watch it from here.
I really recommend
watch it. Tell me something. Did you find yourself ever in a position when you had to defend a film, I don't know, from a minister of culture, or, you know, like something that is perceived as anti-Israeli or anti-Zionist or whatever? Did you ever have to defend the film?
Oh yeah,
of course.
Yeah. No, sometimes, especially during the past decade, we felt the pressure coming from supporters of the fund, previous supporters of the fund from the States, who said, we will not support you because you're in Israel, and we will not support anything Israeli no more because your behavior, because your government, and we say to them, you know, we are those who defend freedom of speech and freedom of art, and the buffer between the artists and the government. And we had especially during the tenure of the previous Minister of Culture. She used to, you know.
Miri Regev, yes.
Yeah, she used to send her.
She used to cancel everything. But you know, one of the problems of being dependent on money from outside, especially in the United States. You know, they feel like if they give money, they can tell you what to do and how to do, or they punish you by not giving you money without even understanding the separation between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, this is one of, there are many definitions to freedom of speech, but one of them says, I do not agree with anything you say, but I will, you know, I will, my life at stake just to let you say that.
To let you say, right.
Yes, so you can say that. So, so some of the politicians never learned this say, but this is the point, you know. First, being a lawyer is not such a bad thing sometimes, because what I know is that the budget, the governmental budgets come because of a law enacted, which is called the cinema law. So no minister can stop the funding. Not so easy. I mean, you can always amend the law, but this was never done up to now. So the money is defended, and the pressure is a pressure, but. You know,
let me ask you another question, because there is a conversation in many panels of documentaries, at least at, you know, the university level, the distinction between a documentary film and a propaganda. So you have many documentary films which are actually one-sided. Well, you know, they're not really trying to understand the complexity of the situation, but they come from almost preconceived ideas.
But they're also not propaganda.
Well, that's a conversation. If you have a one-sided film, it can be a documentary, or it's by definition a propaganda, because it's something.
I can tell you that the decision of the Israeli High Court, I don't know how it goes in the States, but I assume it's not so different. There was a decision years ago in the High Court, the Israeli High Court, which relates to exactly this issue, whether the same film or the same newspaper or the same article should contain both sides or all the positions, and etc., etc. And it was decided that no, it should not have. To be balanced and to show everything, it's enough that there are other stages or other films or other newspapers which will be able to speak up and allow another opinion to be heard. So first, no, not a film does not necessarily show everything. It should be first. At least what we demand from the filmmakers to make a serious effort to find out that they are not saying lies or are not exposing what is a lie, and second, second, they should explain and should try to elaborate and to go into details as much as they can, trying to explain their point of view. The point is, and this is true to every film, to every documentary film, the problem lies with the editing. And wherever there is an editing, there is censorship. I mean, it's inherent. Yes. When you have this problem is much more acute when today when it's so easy to shoot. Yes. Because when people used to make films with films, very expensive, they had fewer materials. Today, every filmmaker arrives to the edit room with hundreds upon hundreds of recorded hours.
Right.
And trying to first it's a terrible problem story.
It's a very difficult process, becoming a terrible process.
Yes, and a very expensive one, very dear one. And so this is a huge problem. But the point is that whenever you decide something, whenever you cut, and whenever you make a decision to leave out some of the scenes, you make a decision. You make an editing decision which may be considered later as censorship or trying to
You shape the message, and that's how it comes, and you know.
Yes. But I believe that people, even young people today, are very experienced viewers.
Yes.
And they are able to tell what is true and what is not. And
what manipulated.
Yes, in order to know that they are manipulated. And but you should understand that that each film, when you get a finished full-length film, it could be an hour, it could be 90 minutes, it could be 2 hours, it could be 3 hours. It will always be edited. And in every editing decision that you make a decision about how you what do you tell and what is omitted. So
I remember many years ago in the Israeli television there was a film when there was juxtaposition between two images, begging face and Egel HaZahav. How do you call it in English? The golden
calf.
Yeah. Golden calf. Just a juxtaposition created such a meaning, right? Which this is always true when you juxtaposition of two images creates something. And if you're not careful, you can really take it even somewhere else from what your intent was.
But you know, even when you call it, once you manipulate the message and you want to deliver something, you can call everything propaganda. What we say propaganda, it's negative, and it's always a weapon in the hand of the politicians.
Propaganda is never so complexity of a situation.
I know.
And if it's not no complexity, it's not interesting. This is what, you know.
That's right. It should be when it's very flat, very one-sided.
Yeah, what?
No, this I understand. I've
full of lies. Look, you know, like I think it was like 8 years ago, we supported a TV miniseries called the Silver Plate, Magasha Kesef.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you recall, but this was a very, very important series which actually launched the gas demonstrations in Israel. Yes. Now, the initial idea behind the series was the wish of the filmmaker to teach simple people basic terms in economy, so people will not be afraid to ask. That people will not feel stupid and will finally understand things like, you know, the connection between the rate of the interest and the prices of housing, etc., etc., etc. And it became what initially I was very afraid that it would be boring. Finally, it became like an explosive, you know, because it was all the field was burning. People were very bitter about the prices and etc. So what I told the filmmaker was one thing: I don't care what you do, because I saw it's going to be great, and it was great. I told him, if I see that even one number that you gave is a lie, is not accurate, you'll give me all the money back. You have to check every number. You have to be sure, and you have to reassure me that you are not lying in any number. And you know, numbers, today we know that numbers are like words. You can
You're so lucky that you can control reality.
But they never were able, and the banks and the government, everybody hated the series and hated us and hated him. And Dorit Inbar, you know,
Dorit Inbar is fantastic. He's really
and no one could show even one number which was inaccurate. So this is, you know, this was important, and this shows
another thing that you do, because you know, you show it's a model, because what we live now is fake news and distortion of, you know, journalists anymore. You know, they don't even not always check, and then they say, oh, yeah, but it's so, you know, it's really like an island of sanity. Right. The films that it is an island of sanity.
Sure, because you can be, you know, you should always, whenever you see materials, it doesn't matter what, you should always take it, you know, with a pinch of salt. You should always be suspicious, and you should teach your children to consume these materials suspiciously.
Right. Yeah.
But
yeah.
But we are experienced enough, really, all of us, in order to make a decision whether it's true or not, and
it's clean or not, right?
And this is why I really like young filmmakers, because are really.
Oh, come on! Don't say it. Are you talking to me?
Talking to Tzipi.
Are you talking to me? No, but you know, it doesn't matter. Nobody will stop me. I go one woman show. I take my equipment and go myself. I mean, yeah, but you know, there are other people who cannot do it because I can make a living. But some people, you know, cannot just go and make films. They hate. Yeah, not. But what do you mean, young? You know.
It's very hard. No, it's hard to make films, you know, and the fact is that most of the filmmakers will not get to the third film.
Yes.
They make the first and second, and this is it. They can't manage to do it. And, yeah.
Right.
You know, I remember I once was in LA around one of the Oscars competitions. I think it was with Wasis Bashir, and I met these big wolves, you know, from the big studios, and they said to me, "How do you make films in Israel? You know, it's like so small, and the budgets are so ridiculous." And I said to them, "You know, it's like this beggar in the traffic lights junction. You know, he's begging for money, and then stops this rich lady in this big car, and she's all full, you know, jewelry and rings and furs, and so he knocks on the window and he says to her, 'Ma'am, please, I didn't eat for 3 days now.' So she opens the window and she says to him, 'Wow, how do you do that? I never succeed.'" Yeah,
I'm going to repeat it. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Dorit, what's next for the spring and for the summer?
Oh, first we have Doc Aviv. Doc Aviv is an international documentary film festival in Tel Aviv. It's one of the 17 film festivals in the world where the winners are eligible to the American Oscars. So it's a big deal. Participate there. We rule the festival, so we are quite disappointed because this year we have 9 films out of the 13 in the competition, in the Israeli competition. Last year we had 11 out of the 13. So, well, we'll see. But great films, amazing films. Then July we're having the Jerusalem Film Festival. And also we expect it to be here. You know, I'm not objective. I told you already, I'm at the board, but I think it's a fabulous event and a beautiful location. And Tzili knows, so she should be there. July, mark it in your diary. But this is a really very good reason to come to Israel. These 2 festivals. So great films are about to come. This is one great thing that is going to happen. And then we are having, you know, we have a flagship project in the fund for women,
the Women Project, yeah.
The Women Project. We have actually 2 branches, one for the documentary and one for the narrative films. And the projects are amazing. And each such round, at the end of it, we have a pitching event.
Oh.
And all the
when is it?
So can't remember. I think the coming event would be again in July. So
very exciting.
It's very exciting. It's amazing. Yes, it's amazing. So we are really looking forward to see what are the next projects. You know, this is an event when all the heads of the TV channels are coming themselves. They're not sending their deputies. They come themselves because it is well known as the hub for the best films to come. So it's really exciting.
They're very
well, that's a lot.
Girls.
You're going to be very busy.
Yeah. Yes.
You're going to be very busy. Yeah.
And in June we are having one of our films at the main competition of the international narrative films at Tribeca in New York. So we're also very excited. Yes.
Yeah.
So,
I think you can figure out by now that Dorit is very competitive and likes to win.
Yes.
Well, but you can redefine it and say she really loves films.
No, but it's great. Listen, it's working well. It's working.
It is really one of the measures. One of the things that we can say about films, the films I'm most proud of are the films who made change. Not. It's very nice to win awards. Yeah. It's really it's an objective mean
but
to
recognition, acknowledgement.
But they carve their path in the road, and it's nice.
Right, but if you have a film that you can say that the film itself made a change, a huge change, this is something that it worth everything. So
right.
Yeah, I can give you lots of examples about that, but
you're right.
It's really beautiful.
That was really.
Dorit, have a great summer.
You gave us a panoramic view of your.
And now everybody should come to Israel and enjoy.
Right.
Go to sleep.
Go to sleep.
And one thing people should do is enter our website.
Right.
Both in English and in Hebrew. In both sides, in the English and in the Hebrew side, there is a catalog. And in the catalog, apart from the regular ways to search for films, the name of the film, the years, name, words, etc., there is a long list of tag words of topics. When you press each one of them, you'll find
it opens all the movie. Yeah.
Right. So if you're interested in a specific
topic, tell everybody your website so they can follow. www.
N like new, F like foundation, C like cinema, and T like television.org.il.
That's
very
right.
nice. Did you say C, cinema?
What?
Did you
cinema.
say cinema? Oh, cinema. I heard cinema and I said, oh my God. Okay.
No, it's not the fun after the name of cinema. It's cinema.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank everybody who came.
Next week.
We'll
see everybody next week.
Again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.